Hey, welcome back. All the stuff is looking good. So we're gonna put it together and it'll be great. I'll have a second raised bed by the end of the day, which is pretty cool. Again, that's what it's gonna look like. I cleaned up the area a little bit. I have to ask my wife about moving some plants, but we are ready to go. So let's do it. All right, so let's start with the easiest part, which is the long sides. We're gonna have take 3 of these 2x4 supports, and we'll be placing them at either end and in the middle. What I'm using for attachment is these outdoor wood screws. I got this giant pack for like 30 bucks. I was like, wow, why does it cost that much? But it actually is really great. You don't have to pre-drill on them, which was a big time saver because they got this like strong, chewy front. And then they also countersink themselves, which is what these little ridges are. I don't know if you can see them. And that means that they'll end up flat in the wood. All right, so let's start over here. I've got it all lined up. I'm gonna just clamp it down. I got these clamps. They came along with the with some sawhorses I got. These guys use a custom bit, but it came with it, so it's fine. Okay, here we go. See, they go all the way down flush. It's pretty great. That's what you want. And in the middle. I actually got unlazy and pulled out my little tripod so you can actually watch me do stuff, aren't you? All right, so now we want to make sure our middle one is actually in the middle. So let's see what we got. Nice. It's always useful to clamp when you're screwing like this. Sometimes when you're screwing, it just wants the board will just move on you. It's a big pain in the butt, and you lose where you were lined up on. Just use some clamps. These ones were pretty cheap. All right, I got one done, but I have to go put on some sunscreen because I forgot to earlier, and I love my wife, and she loves when I wear sunscreen. Sunscreen, check. Always wear sunscreen, especially if you're pale like me, and especially if you love making your wife happy, which I do. Number 2. Okay, now we're gonna do the ends, and that's a little bit harder because we don't put these guys straight to the end. If you remember, they have to wrap a little bit around to make that corner. So what we're actually gonna do is hang them over the width of 2 2x. Yes, 2. I made a mistake earlier on and only had them over 1, and that's wrong. I'll show you. You'll see when we start assembling. So just get 2 scrap pieces. You probably have plenty from earlier. Measure it out. Doesn't need to be super exact, but closer is better. And measure it on both sides. Good. Nice, and now we'll screw down just like we did the others. And the other side. And then the other one I'm doing with a funny inset on purpose, because if you remember, I'm trying to kind of lock it into the inside of my other one. It'll make sense when we're putting it together. I hope this works. Okay, had a little break, helped my wife with some stuff. We went to Lowe's, we got a Matic, we pulled out some roots, and I drank a lot of liquids. Stay hydrated. Anyway, so now that all the sides are assembled, I'm going to take this tarp and apply it to the inside. Again, just to protect the wood from any moisture from the soil. I saw this recommended on a gardening blog, so hopefully it'll help prolong the life of it. Here we go. So I want to make sure it covers this much on top, just so it'll cover it to the edge of that seat. So I've got it clamped in. And then on the bottom, I want to make sure it covers this much, so it'll like just barely be peeking out the bottom. So I'll just grab my knife and cut it like that. Okay, actually I'm gonna staple it in place first because it's a little windy today and it really wants to move. Now I'll cut it. All right, second long one ready to go. So one trick for when you're cutting a long piece of tarp like this is don't start at the end. I'll show you what I mean. I'm gonna start my cut a few inches in. So now it's not like flapping all over, see? So I can, so messy. So now I can get to the end, go back and cut the last piece. Yay! Now we'll do the 2 small pieces. Okay, so now all 4 pieces, both long and both short, are tarped up, sealed, and ready to go. So let's get them into position over next to the garden bed. And you should definitely ask your wife for help at this point because it's gonna get really heavy. Yeah, everyone should have a wife to help them do stuff. Also, mine's really pretty. Okay, my wife's just finishing something up, so I'll take a second to show you how it's all gonna come together. Here are all the pieces. All right, let me flip the camera. Okay, so remember the one I did a little bit weird? Yeah, so I designed it so it's gonna fit right in there once I have it all assembled. But you probably don't need to know how to do that. Okay. So remember when I told you to have your 2x6 sticking out 2 widths? Here's why. See how it's gonna go together and it's gonna be just perfect. Yeah. You wanna make sure it's nice and smooth. And same over here. Oh, and everything's gonna fall down, which is why I need my wife. And for other reasons, because I love her. Okay. This one is going to over. Hold. Both sides. And be a tomato. Oh, can you angle it back a little? Yeah. Just mostly angle it. We'll go to that side. Okay. Let's try to get it even up to the upper. Oh, like even at the top? Yeah. Roll it through. Hold it a little longer. Can you grab the orange clamps? Yeah. I thought you could. In? Oh. Yeah, there we go. There's gapping a little there. Nice. Alright, now we'll do this on the other side. Hold it up a bit. See how much time? Not at all. Can you lift it up then? That doesn't help make it. Is this okay? Yes. Oh. How's that? You're very cute tomato. I'm happy with this one. What is the boys on your side view? I'll do this on the other side. When we are done, we're going to here. Hold this for a second. We're going to slide that in. Try to clamp. That'll be nice. So we're going to try to have it lined up like this. See what I mean? Okay. So it's hard to clamp now, but let's see maybe I can. Okay, really great. Oh, careful. Well, it seems kind of crooked here. Okay, well, I need to... Well, it's crooked though. Well, I need to fix it here, and then we can get it flexed. It's even going for the whole length. Right, because overhang. Okay. This is not ideal, but... You're almost free. Let's see if we can wrangle back to her in shape. Can we pull it out a little bit? Okay. Oh, it doesn't like being connected like that. Not connected well at all. Look. Oh. Alright, let me fix this. I think I should do... Okay, that took some doing because the screws will go through 2 layers but not 3, so I had to do this sideways thing, and it was hard to clamp, but we're good now. Well, we're good on one side. I'm going to do the other side now. Much easier when you're doing this according to the normal plan. But it had to be all weird. So it was all worth it to get that nice looking seam. Duh. Though it looks like I may need to replace that center 2x6 with a 2x8 at some point. We'll see. See what I mean? It's got that little... All right, now let's put the top seedy part on. All right, I'm gonna need to take just like a little bit off of the ends. Let me show you. So I want this corner to come to right here, and it's right here. So I need to take a length off the other end of each. That's that length. So I'll just go measure it, chop it off the end, and come right back. Okay, we got, 2.5 inches. Cool. We got 2.5 inches here. Cool. Perfect. Perfect. So now I just want to weatherproof this end, but that's easy because I saved my brush, remember? Hell yeah, nice and cold from the fridge. Okay, it wants 4 to 6 hours with that before it's fully dry and assembled, but it's 3 now, and if I wait 4 hours, it'll be 7, and it'll be like night falling, so I might cheat a little, don't tell anyone, and assemble a little faster, but I'm gonna let it dry for just a little bit longer while I go help my wife with some stuff. Okay, here we go. Oh my god, it's done and I'm really happy. Let me give you a little close-up. Nice. And I'll fix that with a 2x8 later. So comfy to sit on. Oh my gosh, the sun's so bright. What was I doing? So the last thing I was gonna do with these, but I don't feel like doing it today, is I got this PVC pipe and I'm just going to put a couple PVC pipe lengths on the side before I fill it with loam from the garden center down the street. And the reason I want to do that is in case I want to put up like bird netting or like a sunshade or anything like that, I will just have a little tube I can like anchor my little guy in, or a trellis or something like that to help my little guys grow in some point in the future. So I have the PVC rattling around in my garage, but I'm really tired. It's really hot today and sunny and I want to go rest. I rested and it was great, and I took a shower and it was great, and now I'm cuddling Pippin. who's also really great. So yeah, make sure that you go and pay attention to your cats that you've been neglecting all day. He's really suffered, as you can tell. He's so good. All right, thanks for hanging out with me while I build stuff.